Hello. How is everybody doing on this Friday night? Just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. I know I had audio problems last time, but make sure I'm better this time. Okay. All right, so just to be sure, if you guys can't hear me, go ahead and say something. All right, Astroventure, thank you. So if you guys have any general astrophotography questions, go ahead and start asking. Doesn't matter what it is. While you guys start loading me down with some questions, I did enjoy it last time, and this is quite fun actually. So, kind of want to do this monthly, and I'm thinking it'll be sometime around full moon ish because we like to avoid being under the full moon. So, it will never be the third week of the month though, because that's when I am part of Dark Sky Association meetings. So. I'm a very active member in the state and city level chapters here, so third week of the month it'll never be a live stream, with one exception. The last week of April is Dark Sky Week, and I'm thinking on doing something for that. So, and we'll even have our Pittsburgh chapter. We're going to be doing a live stream on our Facebook group, so. If you have any Dark Sky Association or like Dark Sky questions, I'll put a link up in the community tab sometime about that. But for anybody here who has a YouTube channel, or you don't mind being on camera with these live streams, I would like to have guests eventually, and this will just help. Instead of it always being a general Q&A, we can pick some topics or whatnot. But if you would like to be a guest, just go ahead and send me an email. My email's on the About Me tab in the channel page. But yeah, I don't see any questions yet. Anybody got anything for me? While I wait for those, Astro and Freddy, how are you guys doing? Okay, hold on a second. Got a new little add-on here that can help out with the questions. Just trying to get it to work. It's not fully populating the way it's supposed to. I will get that. And yes, I did see your question about back focus. I will get to it in a second. As soon as I get this working. Sorry about that, guys. Sometime today. Thank you. Alright, well, it's not working, so whatever. So, for back focus, one of the things... let's see, try to find an easy way to explain it. With back focus, basically, when you... yeah, see, I'm trying to come up with a real simple... I like simplifying. Oh, that's weird, James. Okay, a good explanation I could think of is like the magnifying glass with the sun thing, right? You always hold it at a certain distance, right? And then eventually it becomes that pinpoint that creates the little spot that you can start a little fire with. Now, you kind of want to do that with the light rays with your telescope and the camera. The back focus is basically spacing it out just enough that that little point comes down and hits the sensor. That's probably the easiest way I can think of to say that. Now, the best thing, and just for the question, since my little pop-up thing I wanted to do isn't working, this was Freddie asking about back focus. If you get a new camera every time, look up the specs and see what the back focus distance is. Luckily, with most dedicated astrophotography cameras, they do come with something. Some spacers, and hey, 55 millimeters, which is very common, is your back focus. So there's not a whole lot of guesswork you need to do aside from making sure you use the right spacers. Astro Venture asks, actually I'm going to change this to that, but fix this. There we go. Okay. Astro Venture asks about the iPolar. I do not have experience with that yet. I haven't used it. So unfortunately, I can't help you there. What setup is your friend using? Is your Jake Camp, you mentioned you're having some problems with back focus. The focal reducer you have, is it adjustable at all? That's interesting. So when they say 70 millimeters, what you want to hit is the last piece of glass. From there, 70 millimeters to your camera sensor. That's the distance you need. So everything beyond that, from the front of the telescope to that last piece of glass, that doesn't matter. Interesting. Do you think that they may have screwed up in the packaging and maybe missed a spacer or gave you a wrong set? It does happen. The Zewo 120 Mini that I have for my guide cam, the spacer that's for the camera itself, I only got the short ones. The long one that you're supposed to get, I never got it. So... Huh. Do you think that it's maybe supposed to be 55 millimeter? 55 millimeter is a very common back focus length. Just want to try. Huh. Anybody else got something for me? Don't let Jake hog all of it. Oh, Astro Venture. For the Sky Guider, is he having problems polar lining at all just with the Sky Guider on itself? Do you know? Well, Jake, while you're still asking about that, what camera are you using? Okay. 62. Yeah, so pulling up the 6200s page real quick. Zero always puts that one in. Yeah. So what you're gonna want to do, let me switch to this real quick. Okay, so are you using the solution that Zero lists there? So something along this line. Let me scoot this over here. Oh, that's weird. Astro about no reticle. I didn't know that it did that. Hey, Pete. Saw you last time. Well, for the 55, since it's a Zero cam, for the 55, I'll get to yours here in a second, Pete. I use, let me just go to the 294, I guess. Yeah, so I use the this setup pretty much right here. The M48 to T2 and the 21 millimeter. That's perfect for 55 millimeters. So is that what you're using? Huh. And Pete, I think that the AM5 mount is nifty. I really want to see it in use because all we've seen is, hey, it's coming, and nobody's done a video about it other than, hey, it's coming. So I want to see it in use. I would love to try it just to see how it goes, but it's different. I wonder how the like backlash and dealing with a heavier telescope on it without a counterweight is going to go. So I kind of wondering how the mechanic side of it's going to be. Astro, is it easy to switch the iPolar back out for the regular solar or polar scope? Like I said, I haven't used one and I haven't really looked into it either. Using the ASI Air is ridiculously easy for polar alignment. Jake, you're good. Maybe if you have some of these small spacer rings, see if you can put one or two in there. If that fixes your trailing in the corners, then you might be fine. Okay, I am going to switch you back. There we go. Hello, Mike. How is it up there in Ottawa? Rainy. Yeah, it's starting to do that around here too. Yeah, it's a bummer. It almost sounds like if they're notoriously bad for supporting it, to me it sounds like iOptron just doesn't want you to use it, you know? They'd rather you stick on their solution that they might end up coming out with. Yeah, I get that, Pete, about deciding to drop the money. I mean, if Zewa would want to send one to me, sure, I'll do it. But right now, not at the levels where I can just buy one, you know. So I'll watch and see how it goes. Maybe sometime in the future I'll find a way to acquire one. So Dennis asks about he has many hours of data on a target and unfortunately lost the original flats. The imaging train has drastically changed since the original flats were taken. How can I get good flats now for this? So my first question is, do you still have a master flat? So if you still have that, you're fine. Are you using it as part of a project? Because I kind of want to clarify here. If you are just going to try to restack and reprocess it, you're pretty much screwed. You're going to have to try without it. Because if you take a new set of flats with it, the dust pattern obviously is different and it's not going to do much. You may, depending on your editing skills, may be able to work around it by maybe just understretching a little if it's just dust you're worried about, and cropping out the vignetting. That just understretch just a little bit so the dust isn't visible. Yeah. Well, and that Dennis says he doesn't have a master flat. So yeah, in that case, I would say stack without it, but then just be very careful with your stretch. And if it's vignetting you're worried about, just crop it out. Or if it's dust you're worried about, just be very gentle with your stretch so that way it doesn't become visible. I get it though, with all the data that we have with this hobby, it's ridiculous how much data it takes up. So losing stuff is a pain, especially if it's on like a portable drive that ends up dying or something like that. So, Astro, since iOptron's bad with the iPolar, are they bad with everything? Is that like a downfall of iOptron in general? Is that they're just not good with support, or is it just that product in general? Oh, okay, good. Okay, while I wait for that. Well, you three are hogging the talk, and I see other people jumping in and out, but it looks like they're not logged in. But while you guys come up with something for me, um, do have a few for you. So what? Since it's been a month, what was the most recent image you guys got? Because I know Astro was here last time, and Pete was here last time. As you guys already have probably seen with this week's video, Orion is not actually my most recent. I did the Jellyfish Nebula last week and just haven't really gotten around to editing it yet. So Pete asks, when setting up for public star parties, do you find people more interested in looking into the eyepieces, or do they like EAA and looking at images on a screen more exciting? So it depends on what's visible. On Tuesday, went to, here in Pittsburgh, there's a street called Grandview Avenue where there's a bunch of overlooks where you can look over downtown. And there's this guy in our astronomy club who just lives like a block away. He always brings his dog out when it's clear and sets up on the sidewalk. And I took my dog up and I showed him the picture of Orion that you guys are going to end up seeing on Monday. And I also had the telescope on Orion. I was like, this is what you're going to see, but, you know, our eyes are different, so you're not going to see all the color. You're going to see this. And it really depends on the target, I would say, Pete. If you're looking at the moon, they're always going to love looking through the eyepiece. But if you show them something kind of known, like Andromeda or the Orion Nebula, then doing a side-by-side comparison is actually something that I find people quite enjoy, because they're like, whoa, that's what that really looks like? So, but I definitely, for star parties this year, want to try a little bit more EAA and just bouncing around and trying to gauge that. So maybe ask me again towards the end of the year and see if my opinion changed. So far, I think it's balanced. Ah, James, that kind of sucks, man. And Astro got the rosette. Nice. I've been wanting to do that this year, but of course with the Orion Nebula and the videos for that, and it's just a jellyfish. I was like, it's like right overhead in my backyard, so I'll go for that, even though rosette's not too far away. Nice. Rosette, Thors, and Horsehead for Pete. I'd love to do Thors, but need to get a little bit more focal length for that one. Yeah, I think I'll have to squeeze in Rosette and Horsehead really quick before the end of this season. Nice, guys. What else you guys got for me? And while you come up with stuff, if you didn't see the community post, I did put together a Discord server. If you like using Discord, you can get onto it there and come join in. Start building a community there. Ah, James, I get it. Okay. I know exactly what you mean with the Great Lakes weather. I grew up in Lake Erie snowbelt, so yeah. Actually, yeah, I'm kind of curious about that. I'm going to bring up Stellarium real quick. Scoot the chat over here so I can still see you guys. Change that background. Kind of curious how this shapes up with 400. It's there. You have to crop in a lot. Nice, Pete. Yeah, it's kind of like where with all these bright lights, it's hard for me to see see the screen here. I'll just turn on constellation lines. It'll make it easier to see where I'm at. Yeah, it's kind of like going for the whirlpool, you know, with a small focal length. So Adam comments on how bad the moon glow messes on imaging. Yeah. So for about the next week and a half, you know, it's the time to practice processing and not actually shooting. This full moon is on Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. Wednesday. 2 days after Valentine's Day. And Adam, it wouldn't have messed with your guiding that much. As long as your guide camera is in focus and it says it can track a star, the moonlight wouldn't matter too much. My backyard is an Immortal 9 zone, and last week I was shooting the Jellyfish Nebula and had 0 problems with tracking. So the moon is just annoying with the data that you actually want. James, no, I do not. I use the ASI Air. I do plan on getting Nina eventually. I do want to go through and use Nina and APT and Sharp Cap and all those, just so I get a general feel of like how they all compare with each other, and create some notes. Maybe do a nice comparison video once I get the gist of all of them and kind of understand them all. Right. L Pro is an amazing filter. Yeah, exactly. Dennis has it right. Moon glow and light pollution is perfect time to work on processing. But I would also say that if you haven't gotten star clusters or double stars and you want to take pictures of those, moonlit nights are also good for that. Like one of the things that I suggested last time, if you're always running out of ideas is use the Astronomical League's programs as a guide to help you figure out what you're going to shoot. Well, they do require that you shoot some clusters and double stars, so I'm like, you know what? Anytime it's kind of crappy out with the full moon, I might just pop out back and spend an hour on whatever cluster's visible. Oh, for Nina, James. I would check out Quiv's stuff if you haven't already, since he uses Nina for a lot of stuff. But Quiv is on a break, so he's not actively posting. I think that he said that he is responding to some comments, but he's not posting anything new. Oh, and Pete, I did see that you said you use the L Pro to shoot when the moon is out. I typically try to use, I just go for the L Enhance for that. Really depends on the phase. Okay, well, my little question thing is just not loading at all. Okay. So, for those of you, pretty much everybody here, I'm hoping, has watched my videos. Any video I'm wondering from you guys, is there anything I've done that you want me to dive deeper on? Or maybe add to it or something like that. I have a bunch of ideas. I'm not running out anytime soon, but I would like to, help you guys with something you're looking for. Yeah. Yeah, I get that, James. Quiv does go pretty in depth on a lot of stuff. That would be nice. If when Quiv comes back, he does like the Nina for Dummies or something. The simplified stuff. Garnet, yes. So hold on a second. Okay, Garnet mentioned Wi-Fi range tests on the ASI Air Plus and with different antennas. So yeah, I do have a different antenna that I use all the time, and I'm just looking for a good testing software, really. But one of the other things is for the Pro, this little guy was always recommended, the little TP-Link. I have a couple ideas involving both, so I'm actually going to start writing my notes down on what I want to talk about with those videos here soon, after I get done with Monday's video. So yeah, that's already kind of on the list. And Adam mentioned something about PixInsight, so I already have the one PixInsight video for the Sol Nebula. The one I'm doing for Monday is slightly different. The process that I'm using is not involving any channel splitting or anything like that. Orion is a ridiculously bright target, so don't really need to do much with that. But it is different, so there's a couple different ways you could tackle using PixInsight. Yeah, James, I see that. You mentioned more stuff about the ASI Air. Hopefully you've already seen what I put out. I am actually starting to play around with the app itself and just find like the weird little quirks and cool little things you can do with it. So hopefully here in another week or two, or another month or two, I have like a nice little list of cool things you can do with it. Yeah, I remember, Garnet, you mentioned, I think it was you that mentioned ROI for Planetary before. I know Zewo, at least specifically with the Plus. Everybody that's posting videos about the Plus, they are looking at them. They've emailed me about the initial unboxing and reviews that I did, and they quite enjoyed it. And talking to another person who also does YouTube stuff, did a Plus video, and he said Zewo's talked to them too. So they are watching, so hopefully they see those comments. Hopefully they pop back in every now and then to see if there's any new comments. But thank you for the compliment there, Garnet. Now, yeah, and Adam, I agree. So, gonna bring up this fun little picture. So I mentioned last week I did the jellyfish nebula. So if I bring this back to this screen, so this is my backyard last week. So right behind me is my bathroom, and then it's a short, like, it's tiny, right? The camera watching the mount was in the bathroom's window. And sitting here at my desk, I was just able to pick up the air without any connection problems. But if I walked about 5 feet that way behind the camera to you guys, it would disconnect right away, which was kind of weird. But yeah, the reason I brought this little guy up is just finding solutions to be able to walk all around my house and not disconnect, and be able to keep an eye on it when I have it in the backyard. My backyard is, as you saw, completely exposed to the public, so if I do anything back there, I need to be able to keep an eye on it. And the best way for an ASIer is to make sure it keeps running. What else you guys got for me? I don't have to work tomorrow, so I got plenty of time. Looking through, making sure I didn't miss anything here. Nope, looks like I got most of it. Yes. Yeah. So when you connect your ASI Air to the DSLR, you'll spin it on whatever you're going for, right? And it'll take a quick picture, and then yeah, it plate solves the picture from the main camera. The guide camera really doesn't do much in the case of the ASI Air, other than just guide. But one nifty thing that I figured out with my little jellyfish nebula project is when I finally get around to editing, it is 2 nights worth of data. If you're using the ASI Air and you want to do multiple nights, and you take the thumb drive and go to transfer everything, leave at least 1 light frame on the thumb drive. That way, when you go to do your second night, all you have to do is open up the image management and look at that picture in the app, and then you can just, tell it to go back, and it'll plate solve that picture and go right back to where it was with the same framing. As long as you don't rotate your camera or anything like that, it'll be framed up exactly as you had it the night before. So that makes multi-night imaging just millions of times easier. I loved it when it did that last week. Yeah, James asks about equipment tips for dealing with very cold weather. So one common one, I wish he was here tonight, but he's not. So, I think all you guys were here last time, actually. Mike M always has problems with USB cables. Since they're cheap, have a set ready just for the winter. That way, when they inevitably freeze and break, you're not breaking a set for the rest of the year. So get extra cables. Really, all of it's pretty robust to where if it gets cold, you're not going to have too many problems. If you need to grab anything, like when you're tearing down, have some hand warmers ready and just maybe contact the metal where you need to grab it. Let's see, let me think. Because last week when that picture in the backyard, it was probably 5 degrees. It was cold last weekend. If you have to, like you're using extension cords or anything like that, if you have to, don't bother spooling them until you get them in the house and let them warm up a bit. And for your telescope, if it's particularly dewy, don't, like if you put it in a case, like a phone case, don't seal it closed. Put it in there and just like gently close it and let it warm back up. And make sure you have, oh God, those little moisture eating packets, I forget what they're called. Make sure some of those are in there with your scope on dewy nights. Yeah, you can, Dennis, about the cables. Yes, I saw that. You can, or just buy, a pack of 10 cables, ridiculously cheap, and just pick one and be like, all right, this one's going to be the one that's going to die with the frozen cold this year. So it's your choice. So Pete asks about PixInsight being worth the money. Yes, it's worth it. One of the things I'm kind of guilty of is I would say if you switch to PixInsight, don't forget to go back and use Photoshop for all of the processing every now and then. So that way you don't forget how to do that. What are you doing? Come here. Oh. I'm being interrupted. Okay. Round cables over flat ones. That's interesting because Zewo tends to put out the flat ones. Yeah, but I haven't had any problems with the ones that I have so far. So I guess we'll have to see which ones live longer. And Astroventure with your tip about leaving them flat until warm. So the little Tupperware that I use to store all my cables, stuff like my EQ mod cable, and there's one other cable that I already have kind of cable managed already. I just toss them into the Tupperware, it's whatever. But the one that I used for the main camera, that one, it's a real thick USB 3 cable, and I just kind of spool that up and toss it in. But I've never noticed it was kind of like breaking off, from being cold. Oh man, CJ, that sucks. Are you just out in the middle of nowhere, CJ, or do you have somewhere you can plug it in. You were not about to start chewing that squeaky toy, dude. Hey, Orion, come here. So, yeah, CJ, I haven't heard back from you yet. I don't know if you're still here. Okay, and you don't have a straight power supply you can use then, huh? Oh, that's a bummer, dude. Ah, man, that sucks. Man, that's almost like when you see it's gonna be clear, you go out, you get set up, and like the minute you're about to tell it to start shooting, here come the clouds, and they don't go away. How many people have had that happen to them? All right. Oh, no, buddy. Nope. Nope. Adam, I saw your question. I'll get to it here in a second. I'm going to put his toy up so it's not squeaking. Okay. Sorry about that. Now he's staring at me like, dude, come on, give me that back. Not until I'm done, buddy. Okay, so issues doing flats with the ASI air set on auto. Adam asked about that. He says these are very bright and high values, almost correcting too much. So, yeah, actually, a little. It's really dependent on which filter, because I have the L Pro and the L Enhance I'm using. I have to change like how close the panel is. The first thing I would recommend if you're using the t-shirt method is fold the t-shirt over. So instead of just putting the t-shirt on there, fold it in half and then put it over, so there's 4 layers of fabric. The other option is take it off the mount, take the telescope off the mount if you can, and just like set it on a table and then just get the light a little further away. But yeah, there's really not a whole lot you can do other than, if you're again using the t-shirt method, cover it over more, use the entire shirt if you have to, or get the light further away if it's already as dim as it can go. Alright, so James asks about any astrophotography must-have items. So, aside from the obvious of the setup, definitely a red light. You're gonna need that. Just for everything. Depending on, well, actually, no. I would just say more storage in general. Get extra SD cards or flash drives, depending on what you're using. Or have a portable hard drive to keep all your stuff on. Or if you can swing it, put a NAS in your house, so that way you have somewhere to store all your images so you don't lose them. Even though that's not directly related to being out imaging or processing, you definitely want to find a way to save your stuff. And rechargeable batteries for everything. Flashlights, yeah, everything that takes a battery. Get rechargeable batteries, so that way you're not buying more all the time. Dude, seriously. Hey, did you throw that at him? Okay. Okay. Good ways to plan a mosaic for the moon. Not yet. I am going to work on one for the ASI Air as soon as I have a scope that's... Well, actually, no. I have an idea for a target this summer that I'll do a mosaic, and you could probably do the same with the moon. I don't, like I said earlier, I don't have other software, so everything I do for now is going to be with the ASI Air. Manually, use something like Telescopius. Well, not for the moon. For the moon, guess it kind of depends on what your focal length is. What are you talking about focal length wise there, CJ? Yes, Astroventure. Good point there. While I wait for CJ to get back to me on that one. Checklist is definitely a must. Checklist or getting into just a process. You know, you always set up the same way, always tear down the same way. That way, in the middle of the night in the dark, if your flashlight does die on you, you still know what you can do. But if you have rechargeable batteries, that won't be a problem. 750. What camera? Excuse me. So, Adam asks about differences between summer and winter imaging. So yes, definitely a few things. So here in the winter we have the, you know, of course, the bitter cold to deal with, and the chances of things freezing over. So yes, in the winter, of course, be as warm as you can. In the summer, I would say even if it's a beautiful night, it's comfortable to you, you could be out there in shorts and t-shirts if you want. Don't. Wear some long sleeves. Just helps out with the bugs, because bugs are gonna be your next worst enemy. Dew is a little bit more of a problem when it's warmer out. When it's this cold, it's not that bad, to be honest. But dew, you're definitely gonna want to make sure if you don't have a good dew strap set up, get one. Unless you live somewhere dry, like Astro does out in Utah. Like Astroventure here. But yeah, bug spray, wear long sleeves. What else during the summer? If you always set up in the same spot, or you're planning on it, take note of where the trees are and just imagine the tree line being just a little bit bigger. I actually have Stellarium open and I can show you what I mean with that. So I'm going to set it to daytime too before I switch it over. So this is my backyard. Okay. So when I did the cut for the backyard, you notice how the trees aren't exactly perfect. That is just simulating leaves being on those trees. So just keep that in mind for the summer. Leaves are kind of going to mess with your horizon a little bit. Let's see. I don't know if there's anything else I can think of off the top of my head in the summer. Yeah, just dew, bugs, and if you got trees that are close, just remember the leaves might get in the way. Oh, here's one. Wildlife is a little bit more active. Don't worry too much about it. Most animals out in wildlife, they're actually scared of you. So don't be too afraid if you hear coyotes in the distance. If they're a pack, they might approach, but a coyote by itself, one single one, he ain't gonna come near you. Bears, again, they're scared of humans unless they've learned that humans have food. Then they might be a problem. But at least here in the Northeast US, anytime I've been out imaging and I hear something off in a distance and I shine a flashlight and get those eyes, it's usually a deer. So that's something else to consider, is the wildlife. Well, yeah, Astroventure, you live in a desert. Yeah, it would be nice to be able to set up without having to worry about the dew straps. Yeah, I can imagine some of those larger animals. Usually it's a deer that I see at night. I hardly ever see anything else. Yeah, even small animals I haven't really seen much. Trying to think if there's anything else, and then we can move on. Oh. That's right, I wanted to look at CJ. I think CJ left, though. I don't see him in the list anymore. Yeah, Adam. Wagman Observatory here in Pittsburgh. Pretty much every time we're out imaging, we're there, we can hear coyotes somewhere nearby. Oh, okay, you're still here. All right, let me go back in. Set you back to Wagman. In fact, there was one time at Wagman where I was pretty much set up where I am here, where this picture is of the observatory, and I could hear, like, over here where it says southwest, it had to have been right across the road. There's just one coyote just whimpering, and we're wondering if it got injured or something. But it's see. So you were at, you said 750 using the 462. And you want to do mosaics with the moon. Which one do I have that's close? You know what? Just for fun, we'll use my space probe. That's the closest one I got. Set up in here. So I'm trying to see. You might not have to do mosaics, to be honest. Have you tried shooting the moon with that specific setup, CJ? Yeah, because even with the 294, it's kind of close. Now, when you mentioned planning a mosaic for the moon, are you planning for the eclipse, the lunar eclipse happening in May? Is anybody planning to do anything for the lunar eclipse happening in May? I am. I already told my boss I'm taking the next day off, so that way I can travel if I have to. Yeah, okay, so if you want to do it automatically with the ASIR, the best bet is probably to use something like Telescopius, because you can do a mosaic planner. Oh, sorry if that was loud. But you can do a mosaic planner there, and you can pull the coordinates in. I think I'm going to end up doing a video about that sometime, just to have it written down on paper, because I've only done it once and I don't remember. But yeah, that would probably be the best way to do the mosaic, because it relies on coordinates, and the ASIR doesn't have a good mosaic mode yet. I'm sure that tons of people have complained to Zewo saying, come on, add this please, and they just haven't yet. Bucket list. Trying to think, because I definitely do want to go south and get some of the stuff in the southern hemisphere. Yeah. Maybe just, yeah, the fighting dragons in the southern hemisphere. I love the look of that nebula. So get a chance to head south and get that one, I definitely will. What about you guys? What's your bucket list item? Since Astro Venture already said his, you're out. Don't say anything. Alright, well, if you guys got anything else for me, let me know. If not, then we're gonna maybe wrap it up for tonight, so I can keep editing the video for Monday. But again, while you guys spit anything else out that you got to me, again, I did mention I put together a Discord server if you guys want to jump in on that. If not, that's cool, whatever. But it is linked in the chat for you guys if you want to join up. And I will be doing these more often. I do want to do at least monthly. And I am interested in having guests every now and then, so it's not just me, but somebody else joining in, and just have fun doing this. Yeah, Adam mentions no particular bucket list at the moment, but wouldn't mind a camera with a bit wider field of view. Yeah, I can see that. So right now I have just the Xenostar 61 and my Dob, but you've already seen pretty much the extent of what you can do with a Dob. I would love to get something a little bit deeper. I want to tackle the planets, but I don't have anything that can do that. Rose, that's an excellent choice there, CJ. I wouldn't say that one's bucket list for me, but because we've already talked about it earlier, but it is I need to hurry up and do that this year before I have to wait a year. So that's probably going to be the next thing after this full moon cycle. So in Telescopius, you can't search for the moon. That's kind of a pain. I don't know. Since you use the ASI Air, that's the only way I can think of. Only other thing I can think of, that little plate solve trick that I mentioned earlier, where you keep an image. Maybe what you could do is manually put it on the moon where you want it, take a couple shots each. I don't know how well this would work, but then use those shots to set up a program in plan mode. Maybe. Gonna have to play with that one. Because I don't know if it'll go off the craters or if it's gonna go off coordinates. So, yeah. Mukbang asks what the universe is made of. Everything, nothing, quarks and stuff. All right. Well, since we're all running out of steam with questions, I'll go ahead and finish it here. You guys are awesome for swinging by. I see that you're back for a couple of you came back after the first one. So, hey, thanks for coming back, guys. Yeah, anytime you guys have questions, definitely post them in the comments of a video, or like I said, try to do this a little bit more often. This one was kind of impromptu, so I'll try to give better warning next time, and I'll put a community post up that you can post your questions on that I can answer on stream. So that way, it's a little bit busier, and you know we're not sitting here going, "Hold on, let's get some questions." So. All right, yeah, and yeah, everybody, like I said, thanks for swinging by. Enjoy your night. Hopefully, if you're under cloudy skies right now, you get some clear skies soon. If it's cold where you are, please stay warm. Enjoy yourself and this wonderful hobby. I want to thank you guys for watching. Good night.